Hi, K-pop lovers. Welcome back to our channel. Hey ARMY. Before we dive in, if you haven't already, please like this video, share it to your fellow ARMY friends, comment down below which Jimin hair era is your all-time favorite, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss a single video. Trust me, you do not want to miss what we're about to expose today. Okay, are you ready? Let's go. Let me ask you something. You call yourself an ARMY. You've watched every music video, every Bangtan bomb, every live performance, every fan cam. You think you know Park Jimin inside and out. But what if I told you, right now, that there are Jimin hair transformations so subtle, so underrated, so completely overlooked, that even the most dedicated ARMY in the world has been sleeping on them? And what if some of those transformations actually changed the entire way the world perceived him as an artist? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you are going to see Park Jimin in a way you have never seen him before. And yes, we are going fully exposed today. Now, everyone talks about Jimin's iconic pink hair from the Spring Day era in 2017. Everyone talks about his silver hair. Everyone obsesses over the platinum blonde from the Blood, Sweat and Tears era. Those are the greatest hits, the ones that always make the highlight reels. But what about the moments in between? What about the hair tights that shifted his whole energy, his entire aura, his performance style, and yet somehow, the internet just moved on without truly recognizing what had just happened? That is exactly what we are exposing today, and it starts all the way back at the very beginning. When Jimin debuted back in June 2013 with No More Dream, he had dark hair styled in that early BTS hip-hop influence look. Tumblr, think flat-billed caps, bandanas, a rough around the edges concept. His debut look was built around flat bills, bandanas, and abs. That was essentially his whole thing. The ringer. But here is what most people don't talk about. Even in those early days, the texture of his hair was telling a completely different story from what his styling was trying to push. His natural hair has that fine, silky Korean hair texture, and underneath all that hip-hop styling, you could already see glimpses of the softness that would eventually make him one of the most visually iconic K-pop artists of his generation. The stylists were dressing him as a tough guy, but his hair, his actual hair, was already whispering, "I am a prince." That tension between concept and natural texture. Completely underrated. Nobody talks about it. But that is where it starts. Fast forward to 2015, and this is where the first truly underrated moment hits. During the Run era in late 2015, Jimin debuted a vibrant orange hair color that surprised fans and immediately became iconic. Tumblr. It was a shade that surprised many people the very first time they saw it, and even though it lasted just a couple of months, it became an icon, and he hasn't tried it again since. Sumpy. But here is what people always skip over when they talk about the Run era orange. It wasn't just a color change. It was a texture change. His hair during that period had a softness, a slight natural wave to it. It wasn't styled bone straight like it had been in earlier eras. That natural movement in his orange hair, combined with that warm shade against his skin tone, created something almost otherworldly to look at on stage. Jimin's orange hair during the Run era looked fabulous, bomb, yes, but the real magic was in how the texture made it look alive, like it moved with every note he sang. That specific combination of color plus texture. Wildly underrated. Now hold on, because I need you to pay very close attention to what comes next, because this is the part of the video that is going to change everything you thought you knew about Jimin's hair history. Most people jump from the Run era straight to the iconic Blood, Sweat and Tears era. But in between, there was something extraordinary happening that almost nobody recognized in real time. During the Blood, Sweat and Tears era, Jimin debuted a two-block cut, the bottom sides trimmed short, the top kept long, with his roots dyed gray and the longer sides in icy blue. His bangs curled inward in a C-shape following the comma hair trend. That was actually 3 separate hair trends combined into one single hairstyle. Pop stuff 3 trends. one look. And yet, when people talk about the BST era, they always focus on the platinum blonde phase that came with DNA. The Great Oasis Blue 2 block? Criminally underrated. That hairstyle was technically ahead of its time, and stylists across South Korea were referencing it for years afterward. During the DNA era in 2017, Jimin had adorable fluffy blonde hair, and he rocked wavy blonde locks that had fans convinced he was a natural blonde. Korea boo, but here's the part that no one discusses. Compare the type of blonde during DNA versus the blonde during the butter era. They are completely different hair constructions. The DNA era blonde was soft, almost fluffy, with a deliberate imperfection to it, slightly messy, a little tousled, youthful. It matched the colorful, optimistic energy of that era perfectly. But the butter era blonde in 2021? That was a much crisper, more refined platinum, sleeker, more editorial, more grown-up. During the butter era in 2021, he went platinum blonde to match the concept, and it was a completely different execution of the same color family. Sportskita. Most fans lump all of Jimin's blonde eras together as blonde Jimin, but each one was actually a different type of blonde with a different texture and finish. That distinction is completely overlooked, and it is 100% worth exposing. Let's talk about the mint green moment that happened in 2018, because this one absolutely nobody talks about. Jimin tried a unique shade of mint green in 2018 when BTS was invited to accept the Order of Cultural Merit by the President of South Korea. Think about that for a second. He chose to wear mint green hair to meet the President of South Korea. That is a level of confidence in his own aesthetic that is genuinely unmatched. And the specific way that mint sat on his hair, again, that fine, silky texture, gave it this almost pastel, dreamlike quality that photographed beautifully. Yet because it was a low-key public appearance rather than a full music video rollout, most people have either forgotten about it or never knew it existed in the first place. This is the kind of underrated Jimin hair moment that we are here to expose. During the Dynamite era in 2020, Jimin went for a pastel shade of muted purple, and this one needs its own paragraph, because the Dynamite purple is constantly confused with the Grammy purple from 2019. They are not the same. The Grammy 2019 purple was a richer, more vivid shade. The Dynamite purple was deliberately muted, almost dusty. It had a vintage quality to it that matched the retro concept of that music video perfectly. But because both are described as Jimin purple hair, they get blended together in fan discussions constantly. The specific hair texture during Dynamite was also softer and slightly longer than his usual styling at the time, giving his movements on stage a completely different visual weight. When he danced with that hair, it moved. It had life. That dusty purple texture combination during Dynamite is completely underrated and deserves far more attention. Now I want to talk about something that is not technically a dye job, but is one of the most significant hair type changes in Jimin's entire career, and almost no one framed it this way when it happened. On the eve of his military enlistment in December 2023, Jimin went live on Weverse and revealed a brand new buzz cut. Kpop. He had shaved down significantly for the military. Now, on the surface, everyone knows idols have to cut their hair for military service. But what made this moment extraordinary was what it revealed. Without all the styling, without all the color, without the product and the artistry of his hair team, Jimin's bone structure, his face shape, his natural features, were suddenly completely visible in a way they had never been before. After his discharge in June 2025, photos showed him with a close-cropped military haircut, exuding a stronger, more masculine presence, with visibly broader shoulders and a confident physicality that reflected his time in service. The Korea Times The buzz cut stripped everything back and showed a version of Park Jimin that even his most dedicated fans had never truly seen, raw, unfiltered, and somehow even more striking. That is a hair transformation in the truest sense of the word. Jimin was officially discharged from military service on June 11, 2025. Wikipedia, and what happened next sent ARMY into an absolute frenzy. On September 4, 2025, Jimin stepped out with a brand new golden blonde hairstyle at the Moon Party Seoul, hosted at the Grand Hyatt Seoul. He appeared with blonde hair, rectangular glasses, and an all-black outfit, and the term, blonde Jimin, surged into global trends at number 27 almost immediately. Sportskita. But here is what is so fascinating about this moment from a hair analysis perspective. This was not the same blonde as DNA era, not the same blonde as Butter, not the same blonde as his Muse era photo shoot. For the Muse album in 2024, Jimin had actually asked fans to vote whether they preferred him in black or bleached blonde, and the bleached blonde he wore for Muse was a warm, luminous shade. Think Villa. The September 2025 blonde was something else entirely, a golden, sun-drenched tone that felt more relaxed, more personal, less concept-driven and more authentically him. After nearly 2 years of military cropped hair, watching his hair grow back out and then seeing him choose that specific shade of golden blonde felt like watching him reclaim his identity as an artist in real time. And most people just said, "Blonde Jimin is back," without recognizing the specific type of blonde he had chosen and what it communicated. On March 21, 2026, BTS performed their comeback live concert in Seoul as part of the promotion for their fifth full-length studio album, Arirang, performing together as a group for the first time in almost 4 years. CNN and Jimin showed up to that stage looking like the fullest, most complete version of himself he has ever been. His hair for the Arirang era is a testament to everything he has been through, the solo career, the military service, the growth, the maturity, and it lands as one of the most intentional hair choices of his entire career. But we will let ARMY continue to analyze and celebrate that chapter as it unfolds. Here is the bigger picture that this entire video is actually about. Jimin's hair has never just been about color. It has always been about texture, movement, construction, and the specific way each combination communicates something about where he is in his artistic journey. Jimin is the member of BTS who has presented the most diverse hair colors among the 7 members, with his colors including red, blue, blonde, pink, and silver across his career. No one in BTS switches up their look like Jimin, whether his hair is light or dark blue, purple or peach, sandy blonde or platinum, or his natural dark brown black, fans go crazy for each new look. Stylecaster. But what truly separates Jimin from every other idol when it comes to hair is this: he doesn't just wear the hair. The hair becomes part of his performance. It moves with his choreography, it shifts the mood of his visuals, and it tells you something about who he is deciding to be for that era before he even opens his mouth to sing a single note. Before his military discharge, Jimin shared on Weverse that he was thinking about how long he should grow his hair out, and that he wanted to experiment with new looks, including potentially dyeing it once it was long enough. Music Mundial. That is an artist who is fully conscious of the relationship between his hair and his artistic identity. He doesn't just let stylists do whatever they want. He thinks about it. He discusses it with fans. He votes on it. He uses it as a communication tool. And that intentionality, across over a decade of hair transformations, across every color and texture and cut, is exactly what makes Park Jimin one of the most visually sophisticated performers in the history of K-pop. And it is criminally underrated. So the next time you see a new Jimin hair reveal, whether it's a teaser photo, an Instagram update, a Weverse selfie, don't just react to the color. Look closer. Look at the texture. Look at the cut. Look at where it sits on his face and how it changes his silhouette. Because every single choice is intentional. Every single change is telling you something. And now that it has been fully exposed, you will never unsee it. That's it for today's video, ARMY. If you made it all the way to the end, first of all, you are the real ones, and I love you for it. Now do me a huge favor, smash that like button if this video gave you a whole new appreciation for Jimin's hair journey. Share it with every ARMY you know because we need everyone to see this. Comment below your absolute favorite underrated Jimin hair era. I read every single one, I promise. And subscribe with notifications on so you never miss when we drop the next one. Purple hearts to every single one of you. See you in the next video. Purple heart annyeong.